Congrats on the win. Not the nicest birthday gift to give Diego Ferreira, but a good win for you nonetheless. How'd you feel about the performance?
Yeah, I feel good about the performance. I know how good Diego is. I thought that this was going to be a very tough fight. It was my toughest fight for sure. I was prepared for it being my toughest fight. I don't think that he gets the respect that he deserves. He's only got losses to the best guy in the division, and nothing has changed yet. I am one of the best guys in the division. I think I proved that by beating him, I would say, better than everybody else has beaten him, other than maybe Dustin, because Dustin knocked him out, but, you know.
Right. Were you surprised he was as willing to grapple with you as he was? Like, his coach was giving him crap the entire fight and in the corners for just engaging with you as much as he did.
He was not willing to grapple with me. He just couldn't. He didn't have another choice. These guys aren't willing to grapple with me. They just don't have a choice. We're fighting my fight.
Yeah. Where do you think this ranks in your biggest wins so far?
It really depends on what you want to look at. I think my biggest win to the people would probably be Demir. I think my biggest win to me would probably be this one. I know how tough he is. I know how good he is. I was very nervous in this camp because I knew this was going to be really tough. I told my dad before leaving for the venue, I said, I might not be able to hold this guy down. You know, I might have to strike with this dude and play punchy face with this dude for a little bit because he's got really, really good get up. But I proved again that when I get on top, I'm one of the best guys in the world.
Yeah, and you called out Beneil Dariush. I'm just curious, like, before we get into that potential fight, when everything happened yesterday and they're shuffling the card, was there any talk of, like, hey, would you want to fight him maybe tomorrow when Moicano slips up, anything like that?
Not in anything that was on paper. People were talking about it, people were saying, and I told my coaches that if the UFC comes to me and asks me to fight Beneil Dariush, I'll do it. And they never asked. So it was kind of a don't ask, don't tell situation. If they had came to me and said, will you step up and fight Beneil, I would have said yes, but they didn't ask. So better case scenario, I get to fight Diego, who I was preparing for, and now I get to fight Beneil with a camp.
Yeah, I guess how confident are you that fight does come together? Because he said in an interview yesterday, like, UFC paid him his full show and win money, and they
as they should, by the way. That is very good on the UFC. So
absolutely.
Great on them.
He also said they have something big for him. So do you think maybe there's already something in the works that maybe out there?
I didn't hear that about the something big, but good for him. You know, I hope he gets something big. Man, he's a vet and he's fought everybody, anytime, anywhere. I'm one of the anybodies. So maybe it's me. Maybe he gets something bigger with a big name. I'm super happy for him. There's enough wealth and riches to go around for everybody. If I get somebody else, I get somebody else. What I need to do is just start calling out people that I'm afraid of, that I don't want to fight, because I never get anybody I call out. So the next person I call out, I'm probably afraid of that dude because I'm not going to get him.
Is there another name that fits that description?
I'm afraid of, or somebody I actually want to fight?
Both.
I don't know. Fazeev is pretty damn scary.
Right here. I remember, I think it was when you fought in Newark, it was like a very grappling-heavy fight, and you said the second you kind of grabbed a hold of him, you realized just how much stronger and just better grappler you were in there, and that kind of became the game plan in the middle, like right in the fight, maybe
right.
not before. Did anything against Diego, was there anything similar to that, or was he exactly as tough and skilled as you expected coming into this?
No, he was exactly as tough as I thought. We had plans B, C, and D lined up for maybe I can't hold him down. Maybe I can't get him down and keep him down. I heard his coach, too. He's got the loudest coach in the world. Which is a good thing. That is not a diss. That is a good thing. Having a loud coach that you can hear is a very good thing. But I could hear his coach screaming at him to get up, and in my head, I'm like, yo, take it easy on him, man. Like, I'm pretty good at holding this dude. I'm good at holding people down, man. He's trying, bro. Trust me, he's trying. But, we had backup plans, but the game plan was to get him down and to not brawl. And there were a couple of spots in there where we had to kind of throw that out the window. But I think Mike told me he was like, hey, get in there and brawl as much as you can. That's what his plan was.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna ask that. I think at the beginning of round 3, he kind of just came out, like put his head down, and just kind of started chucking in there. Did you kind of expect like kind of he'd come out trying to throw a Hail Mary in that one?
Yeah, we knew. And dude, he is known he's known for his conditioning. He's gassed out in one fight, and that was one fight he took on 4 days' notice. So I think of him of having a very, very good gas tank. every round, my coaches were like, hey, he's going to come out hard this round. We know he's coming out hard this round. Like, be ready to shoot under, be ready to meet him with knees and elbows. That's the biggest thing was we wanted to meet him when he came in with knees and elbows. And I didn't throw as many knees, but we met him with a good elbow. I dropped him, I think, in the third, put him to a knee, and just couldn't capitalize on it. So
I think there was last one for me. There was a moment where you grabbed his ankle and you lifted, and he put his hand down, and then you still just kind of blasted him in the face, which would have been illegal like just a couple months ago. So I guess not specifically for this one, but just in general, do you approach just fights differently and just kind of game plan differently now that you do have like new weapons and tools you can use in there?
Yeah, one of his styles of getting up is to put his hands on the mat and get his butt in the air, which is a very good, for the old rules, is a very good way to get up because, you know, especially when you're sweaty, it's really hard to put forward pressure, downward pressure on guys that have their butt in the air because you can slip off of them. And before the new rules, you couldn't hit them while they were down. So you couldn't let go and punch because then they just stand up. You couldn't knee them. So it kind of forces you to put in a stalemate situation. So it's a very good game plan. The problem is that with this fight, the rules changed, and we were planning on kneeing him in the face. And we also came up with one to kick up between his arms. And I did something similar to that, but it wasn't on the back. It was when I had his leg, and I kicked him there. But, yeah, I am for less rules, not more rules. I think knees to a downed opponent should be legal.
Have you had to kind of change your strategy in defense, too? Because, like, you can't do that either. Like, so I guess in camp and everything, is this just something you have to, like, remind yourself, like, during it?
I don't get up the way that Diego gets up. I get up a very specific way, and the way I get up, my head goes first, so I'm not super worried about it. But always good to know, to be aware of. So,
Right in front, Grant, congratulations on the great performance and getting the victory. Did anything surprise you in this fight and go a different way than what you were expecting from Diego?
No, I knew how tough he was. I feel like we really prepared for his best weapons. The number one thing I wanted to stay away from was his crucifix, where I'm in on a leg, he starts tying up this leg, and then he goes like a Kimura on the far side. He's done some really good damage in those positions before, so we drilled those positions quite a bit. I think he got me there twice, and I knew exactly what to do. I gave up a worse position to be able to fight and continue to go other than getting caught in that position. So I'm very happy with my coaches, with my team, and the game plan that we built. Very, very happy with this fight.
Excellent. Did he have you hurt at all?
Maybe emotionally. In the third round, he was yelling at me about, like, let's stand up and fight like men, and I was just like, you're the one that's getting held down, bro. Like,
Yeah.
What do you mean, you know?
Absolutely. If Beneil is your next fight, how many more after that you think you need before a title shot?
Probably 4.
Okay, 4 more. Excellent. Last thing, can I get your predictions for the main and the co-main tonight?
Co-main event, I'm very confident that Merab will win. I think that if you look at Merab's lineup, you know, so many former champions, Jose Aldo, Henry Cejudo, the list goes on and on. I think he's going to win this fight, and Umar really only has one credible win, and that's Corey Sandhagen, which is a great win. But let's not remember that right before that fight, he fought a debut guy that dropped him. I think that people are giving him a little too much credit because of his last name. And in the main event, of course, I'm going to go with my teammate, Moicano. I think that Arman is a very, very, very good fighter and could have gotten the job done as well. I think Moicano is a little bit stylistically worse for Islam than Arman is, just because Arman is more of a grinder. I want to take you into the deep water and grind you out, and it's going to be really, really hard to do that to somebody like Islam. Whereas Moicano, if he gets into one good position, just one, this fight is over, you know?
Excellent. Keep up the great work.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Grant, your teammate Money Moicano is fighting for the belt in a couple of hours. You spend a lot of time together. Could you tell me the wildest Moicano story?
I don't know if this is the wildest story, but this is the funniest one that comes to mind. Apparently, on his podcast, he talked some shit on Joaquin Buckley, and then he was telling me that he was in the weigh-ins for one of his fights, and Joaquin Buckley came up to him, and he goes, "Hey, I heard you were talking some shit." And Moicano said, "No inglés." And he goes, "How can you talk shit if you don't speak English?" He's like, little bit, but no inglés. And then he's like, Buckley was like, all right, whatever. And he turned around and walked away. I thought that was super funny. I like Moicano quite a bit. And what you see on camera is the exact same person he is in real life.
That's a great story. And a more wholesome question now. You and your wife, Ellie, have been together for 7 years. What type of advice did she give you early on in your career, and how has her advice changed?
I don't really know if there's a lot of advice that she's given me word-wise, but one of the biggest things coming from a relationship that I have with my wife is that she's so supportive. I was the one that wanted to move to Florida. I'll never forget this. We went for a walk, and in 45 minutes, we made the decision that we're going to move to Florida and train at American Top Team, and she was all for it. There was absolutely no kickback. There was absolutely no hesitation. I truly believe that woman would live under a bridge with me if we were broke. So you can't find that. I would give up all the money I have to keep a woman like that.
Grant, could you shout out who helped you at ATT for this camp?
Yeah, number one, I got to talk to my coaches, Mike Brown, Tiago Alves, and then one of my best friends and training partners, Dakota Bush. The dude is on a 6-fight win streak, 2 finishes. He definitely deserves to be back into the UFC. He was in the UFC. He took a very, very short notice fight, and it didn't go his way, and they kind of let him go. He needs to be back in the UFC. 6-fight win streak, get this man back into the UFC. And then I got to thank J.J. Wilson, an incredible jiu-jitsu guy, a New Zealand world champion in ADCC. So he came in every single Tuesday and Thursday to help me. So thank you, JJ, so much. You're an absolute stud, bro. And then my boy, Sadiq, who I smash every day. I smash you, Sadiq. But no, he came in and he helped me out a bunch too. So I really appreciate all these guys. And the list goes on and on, but mainly those guys have helped me quite a bit. So I really appreciate and love these guys.
Great team makes a big difference, doesn't it?
It's everything, It's really hard to find good guys, and it's even harder to find good guys that care about you. So I'm a blessed man.
Excellent. Thank you.
Cool. Thanks, guys.